Hello there. If I can cast your mind back 3 weeks ago to the start of March 2025, when we took a look at every single Lego Star Wars Duel that Lego have ever made, going all the way back to 2013 with the first one, Duel on Geonosis, and I really liked that one. That was my favorite by far, but recently on live streams, we've built Ahsoka Tano's Duel on Peridia. Why I didn't pick this up last year, we talk about it in the stream, but I still really don't know why I didn't already own this. But I like the style of diorama that this has gone with. So whilst I'm waiting on the next set to arrive so we can make it even bigger, I decided to go back to 2013, take a little trip down memory lane and rebuild Lego Star Wars Duel on Geonosis in a similar style to Ahsoka Tano's Duel on Peridia. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. There is a ton of Easter eggs inside. I'm sure you can already see quite a few from the set, but I have fixed my biggest problem with the playset by making it a diorama. So first off, let's talk about minifigures. The set came with Yoda, Dooku, Poggle the Lesser, and then a droid, which I assume is just a pilot for Count Dooku's ship, which isn't included, but we do get a nice little speeder. I think the minifigures for the original set, of course, Poggle the Lesser not being a popular character compared to Kenobi and Anakin, who are in quite a few other sets, especially the gunship. I really hope LEGO release a similar set soon and perhaps throw in a few more Jedi from the Battle of Geonosis. But as we're doing a diorama and we're being accurate to Attack of the Clones, I am going to swap out those two characters and substitute in Anakin and Kenobi, both of which are custom minifigures. I have altered the official LEGO versions. So now let's take a look at our minifigure lineup. We will be drawing quite a few comparisons to this here Ahsoka Duel on Peridia, which originally came with 5 minifigures. Ahsoka, Elsbeth, Ezra, Thrawn. It definitely didn't come with Palpatine, unless I'm remembering something wrong. It may have come with that other trooper, but we have used the head for Palpatine. So I guess Palpatine can represent the Night Trooper, and I can't wait to get more of those in a battle pack later this year. But there are other minifigures we could have added, like Sabine, like a Night Death Trooper, and like Enoch, who I definitely think should come in this set if we are getting more of these guys later this year, especially if we get the same Stormtrooper. That would be a little disappointment. So for the Geonosis Duel diorama, I've gone with 4 minifigures, which might seem like an interesting choice over the 5 included in Ahsoka's Duel on Peridia. Wouldn't I want to include that extra minifigure? We've of course got Dooku and Yoda from the original set, and I've included Anakin and Kenobi because they are fighting before Yoda, and whilst the play features don't line up exactly for Kenobi and Anakin, we've got Yoda's little jumpy stick there. We've also got a few of the lights that Dooku is no doubt throwing towards Yoda. We do have this column which does fall on top of Kenobi and Anakin, so it would make sense to include them. And you've just seen a sneak peek at some of the other minifigures we could have included. We could have included Padme from After the Attack with the, worn down clothes and torn top. We could have also gone one step further, include a bonus character like a Sandy clone trooper that does show up towards the end. But if we're including a clone trooper, we should probably include Dooku's pilot droid that is in the original set. And if we're including the pilot droid, should we not include some separatist minifigures like Poggle the Lesser or Wat Tambor? We can easily get carried away, and much like the Ahsoka Duel on the left, suddenly we're at 9 minifigures and they're not going to fit in the mock, let alone if this was a Lego set. So I've tried to keep it somewhat realistic with the 4 minifigures here. I did say Anakin and Kenobi shouldn't be touching a lightsaber. I did say Anakin and Kenobi are custom minifigures. This is using my duplicate of the burnt up Anakin torso because I didn't realise I don't have that many Anakins. One of my very first Lego sets included an Anakin minifigure, and I just assumed I picked them all up along the way. But chances are that minifigure actually stopped me getting a few of the extra sets. But I have used this hairpiece. It's probably not the best hairpiece, but it's a lot better than the new Boba Fett one Lego are coming out with for the Slave one. Leaks of that are up on the channel. And then we've got this Kenobi, which is mostly a minifigure Lego has definitely given us, but I've probably switched up the hair to the ponytail. And I think this was the Kenobi I created for the training scene between Kenobi and Anakin from the flashback in the Kenobi show. But I do think these 4 minifigures are perfect for a diorama like this. Like I say, they could throw in an extra minifigure, probably even just throw in a, not Poggle the Lesser, but one of the Geonosians in this set, just so we can get an extra one, because they're not too common in Star Wars like the Geonosian Poggle the Lesser himself. But the actual diorama is looking a bit open. When we compare it, let's get these figures out the way. When we compare it to the Ahsoka Duel on Peridia, the floor does create, it fills the space quite nicely, and I didn't want that for the Geonosis Duel because it's a large empty room with a few circles on the bottom, so I thought it best to keep it mostly studs, but there are a few tiles laying here and there, and Yoda can clip on to this jumping mechanism. You've seen it before in the original set review. It's one of my favourite play features. I don't think I'll be able to do this one-handed. It's one of my favourite play features in a set, the fact that Yoda can just jump around, you know, even bouncing off the walls. Because we have brought in those walls closer, Yoda can just be jumping, bouncing off the walls, and they're in quite securely on these hinges, one on either side. But whilst we're speaking of the back, before we get to all the other play features that you may have seen dotted around this set, there is a bonus one compared to the original set. The backing does resemble that 2013 design quite nicely. The big difference I've made is that I've really angled this a bit better than the original set. The original set folds up and is quite triangular. I've opened this out into more of an open room, almost copying the base of Ahsoka's Duel on Peridia to get that nice octagonal shape with the walls just at the front here. And again, like we're about to do with Ahsoka's Duel on Peridia, stay tuned for that. We probably could double this up and build a nice little room on the inside. We've still got the arch with the flick fire missiles that should, again, I haven't tested this, they didn't work on the original set, but because we don't have 2 more bricks to try and squeeze through, they work a lot better. That is lethal. That almost gave Yoda a haircut if he had much hair to cut off. But as you can see, we'll try it with the other one as well. The arch is a bit finicky to get around, but okay, that one didn't work as well. We'll just show a highlight of the first one. I can't believe that worked so well first time. And these are just little lights that Dooku would be throwing towards the Jedi Grandmaster, trying to distract him and make him lose his focus. But we all know that's not going to happen. I mean, he's probably going to get distracted by the jumping alone. It's not the only play feature. We have also got over on this right hand side the tower from the original set, slightly shorter so it doesn't take up much space, but this is why I included Kenobi and Anakin in this diorama, so that they can lay there whilst maybe even Kenobi's first whilst Anakin is fighting, and then eventually they'll join each other crushed underneath this, which if this was the original playset, no studs on the bottom, the minifigures could slip out. Let me get rid of that light at the back there. But because they're studded down, there is no hope. And both of them are going to get crushed under this pillar. We've also got this little canister just at the back here, which does contain the Death Star plans. Had to include them in this diorama. It's a really nice piece for Lego to have given us. And this canister is also holding on this back side here. I've used some interesting math to try and keep this held together, because on the left hand side, we do have these bricks, this 1x2x2 brick tall slope in particular, which does collide with the slope, stopping it from opening. Well, it opens a little bit, but stops it opening too far. And on this right hand side, we've got nothing to stop the wall swinging open. So by connecting these 2 studs down here and connecting this storage container between the 2 of them, which is a perfect fit, and quite awkward to do with one hand, that is stopping the wall moving at all. There is no give in this wall because of how exact that stud connection is. I am really, really happy with how that's come along. Let's put the Death Star plans just on the inside. But taking a look back at these walls, you can see some of the rock elements at the back have been brick built. I'm not a fan of those big chunky elements, but I do like the way they look. So I've just replicated that with bricks, and I could also try and add some symmetry into this build. We like our symmetry here by flipping that rock panel, but I've built it in using some similar techniques as the original set. I think the most outlandish one is this one up here, which I wanted to get a pipe in, continuing from on the floor, get some pipe showing in all this rock work. But I'm happy with how this set has come across, and this isn't all, because we get a speeder in the original set which sits on the ramp, but the ramp is where Padme and that clone trooper from earlier arrive to kind of save the day if they weren't arriving too late. But they did fall out the gunship. No one can blame them for their lateness. There's also a little bar element down here. If we pull this, the ramp extends from underneath the diorama. I'm a little surprised that the Peridia Duel didn't have anything extending like this. They especially needed it at the back where Ezra's got his little jumping mechanism that doesn't really work. But this can be extended for Padme, and let's bring out the clone trooper to arrive last minute to shoot at Dooku's ship sailing off in the background. And also brings out this diorama a little bit more, doesn't confine it to this little space, and allows also for Anakin, maybe even Yoda, to hang out here whilst Anakin and Kenobi are fighting Dooku. We've got Yoda out here waiting in the wing whilst Dooku and Anakin duel it, which is one of my favourite scenes in Attack of the Clones. For those of you that don't know, Attack of the Clones is my favourite Star Wars movie, and one of my favourite scenes is the Dooku Anakin duel when the lights are flickering, and I'm definitely going to need to get some LED sabers out to see how this looks. Given that these dioramas are the most popular type of content I've been making here on the channel, I'm going to go ahead and assume a few of you might be wanting instructions for this down the line. There are a few issues with Studio at the minute, which means instructions are not already out, but keep an eye on my website as that's where I'll be uploading instructions, and there might be a few giveaways down the road. I do think this diorama would make a better playset than something like the Duel on Peridia, because besides these 4 pillars, we've just got a flat base plate, which feels very much like that Kenobi set that literally no one was buying and stores couldn't get rid of quick enough, whereas Geonosis at least has some walls, and this diorama doesn't feel too enclosed in like the Death Star would without that gigantic window, allowing plenty of room for both play and display. Let me know what you think about this set in the comments. I am so happy I've carried across that Yoda play feature. If we do get a Chancellor Palpatine arrest, not from when he was arrested, but when he was tried to get arrested and then declared himself as the Senate and just took over the galaxy pretty scarily easily, I definitely think we need to see this play feature introduced into that set so we can get a nice little twirling Palpatine mechanism. But if we don't get it, chances are we'll build it here on the channel. So stick around, subscribe if you're new here, drop a like if you did enjoy the video, and thank you so much for making it to the end. May the bricks be with you always.